There we go. Alrighty. Wait, Bruce from Bone? You don't have to ask me that. I mean, that's normal. Like, why are you asking me that? Oh, fucking hell. Come on, brain, wake up. Jesus Christ. Bro, I'm sad. You're sad? What are you sad for? Get $20 is that cool enough for an ounce? Or an eighth? A day smoke? That's a day to you? What? Dude, I can make an eighth last like 3 days, bro. Well, like, at least 2. How the fuck do you make that only last 1 day? How do you think I have like this whole ounce lasting like at least like 2-something weeks? Does this smoke about like a gram-ish a day? Like maybe like a gram and a half, give or take. That's why I say at least 2 days. Like, how do you like go through an entire eighth in a day? Smoke like a gram a bowl. No, I don't. Dude, like, I've unironically I've measured my smokes before. Like, it's not, like, a gram a bowl. I mean, I'm a stoner, but I'm able to get that, let that chief last on for a while. It's like the stoner art, being able to, like, maintain the perfect, like, equilibrium, or at least, like, kind of the gauge for the, for your high, and being able to just maintain it. I mean, I guess I do have the excuse of being at work, too, where I don't have immediate access to it. That's why I go on my lunch breaks. But, I mean, it's, even then, like, I wouldn't be chiefing up even, like, all the time even at work, because that'd just be a little, like, that would just be a little too much of an impact on my work. Like, a little something for a de-stressor and a little light, weed buzz or something while I'm at work, is fine, but, like, chiefing up like I do on these streams, that would not work out as well. think Glacier is a half-gram bowl. Not sure. What, this? Oh, I mean, I could probably fill this thing up to at least half a gram if I measure it out, like if I really packed it in. But I don't do it like that, though. Like $200 to $500 bottles. Nice, damn. Yeah, that's like, for like, the people that are straight up like beer snobs and shit like that. Which isn't me. I like me some whiskey and stuff, but like that whiskey better be, like the finest fucking shit I have ever, like the finest fucking liquid I've ever put in my mouth for it to be like, $200 to $500. Like that's rich man's whiskey. And I actually watched this dude, Bruzel or something like that, or Brusley, I think. And it's just like this dude who just like straight up like talks about whiskeys and and shit like that. They didn't have Reka, but they have Svedka. Didn't you say there was a liquor store, somewhere that had Reka? You should get it delivered. That would be pretty good. Just saying. From some store in California to do it. At least try it. Dedicated liquor stores in New Mexico are closed. It's Tuesday. What? When are they open? Liquor is only available at grocery stores. Why are the dedicated liquor stores in New Mexico all closed? Like all of them? Why? That makes no sense. It's a leftover COVID restriction. Oh, why is that still active? I mean, like, wow, there's actually a state in this country that still has like a COVID restriction enforced. Like, I'd figured, it'd be, like, I thought, like, all of America just stopped giving a fuck after 2021. Like, once 2022 rolled over, we stopped giving a fuck. Grocery stores are making bank. Oh, you know what? I bet those fucking grocery stores, like, if they're, chain grocery stores, I bet they fucking, lobbied the state to be like, keep these closed. We make extra bank off this. People keep coming to us for liquor now. Dude, I bet there's like some like state level lobbying going on to keep that shit in place. By the grocery stores too. I guarantee you it's like shit like that. Which, if like the liquor stores are sanctioned by the state, then it basically literally would be it would be dictated by the state. So, yeah, I kind of feel like that's what's happening. Walmart doesn't sell hard liquor, but the farmer's market does. Wait, so if the main grocery store doesn't... Okay, so that doesn't make sense then. I don't know, whatever. Walmart store policy. And yet, you could buy a fucking gun in Walmart in, like, Texas. Or some shit. Wow, love it. Why did he lock himself in the laundry room again? Silly dog. Silly ass little thing. Oh my god. Liberals are trying to steal our stacked broads. Fucking Vaj. Oh my god, that's an hour and a half long rant or video thing. Oh my god. Dude, he's having his Lara Croft arc now. Look at this. Dude, fucking Vosh is having his Lara Croft arc like TJ did. Oh shit, dude. And they're saying that oogling at the booba is like misogyny, and yet here we are with Vosh being like, look at these fucking sexist liberal pigs taking away our sexy, beautiful women. Sexy, beautiful women. And you know what? True. True. I mean, it's glad to see that, you know, our dirtbag lefties like Vosh and TJ are in unison and agreement with this. But instead of Lara Croft now for the boys on DFF, now it's the Velma arc. Now it's for the Velma. But, you know, nonetheless, the premise and the foundation is still there. And it is agreeable. So I find it a little silly when you do the, like, you know, like, oh, well, here's the sexist power hour of oogling at Velma now. It's like, that's why I find it a little amusing. Because, like, they're the ones who post that shit. They're the ones who want to flex out the sexiness and shit. That's, like, how's it our fault for being like, hey, I respect that. It looks nice. The Last of Us show found an actor to play Abby. Didn't they already have one? Didn't they already have one or something? Or they changed their mind and just be like, alright, having someone else now. The first girl quit. Oh, damn. She quit. Is there any peculiar reason why? I mean, especially considering the show and what it is, you know, she would probably be like, you know, fairly, you know, like little mini celeb in a sense because of it. So I feel like there had to be some legit reason for it. Like probably getting fucked over with pay or something like that. Didn't it say? Maybe it just wasn't the right role for her and she just didn't, you know, like fit with the role, at least, you know, as an actor, or at least as an actress in this case, huh? I mean, if there's no explanation for it, then what the fuck? Oh well, whatever. I mean, considering with, like, the SAG-AFTRA strikes that happened recently and shit, I kind of figured it probably would have been something related to that, or at least, like, kind of related to some of the issues and the problems that were being addressed or raised because of the strike, so, yeah, I figured maybe it would have been something related to that. It's going to get negative reaction, but look who's playing Joel, the Mandalorian himself. And Abby beats Joel to death with a golf club. Well, shit. Well, I mean, I haven't seen the show, so I don't know, like, you know, how good or bad it is. I've heard, like, oh, it's woke and shit, but it's literally over the fact that there's, like, two, like, gay dude characters and then, like, a lesbian couple or something like that. It's literally over the virtue of just, like, two different, like, gay relationships. And that's it. Like, it's literally it. And I'm just like, really? It's woke because of this? Like, fuck off. Like, oh my god. I mean, you know, it's, if anything, it just, like, well, it just immediately made me think, well, if that's literally all they have, then the show, you know, must at least be fairly good if there's nothing else to critique of it. Like, because I think I've seen, like, a Critical Drinker video about it, and he didn't even really, like, have much to say, being like, oh, well, they just have another gay character thing here, you know, liberal fucking woke, you know, Hollywood again. You know, but as for, like, you know, the show itself, blah, 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 you know, whatever, it's just kind of lame. Like, he didn't really have much to say over it. I'm just like, okay. If that's the case, then, you know, like, evidently there isn't anything, you know, overtly negative about the show. So it must at least be pretty good for what it is. They're being faithful to the material by having them in it. Yeah, like I know that much. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it's meant to be faithful to the game because those same gay characters are also gay in the games. They didn't change anything up with that. I mean, they would have like changed the material if they made them straight or any other characters, or like made one of them a female character instead. Which you know for a fact they would bitch about that instead. Be like, oh, it's already, it's like it's not good enough that they're gay characters like in the game. You had to make one of them like a woman and like a trans character instead or something. Ugh. Like they would do some shit like that. Like there's no win with these motherfuckers. They already think the female character in GTA 6 is somehow trans, even though she literally isn't. We don't even know she's like, what her sexuality is. I mean, she could be bi for all we know. She at least is, like introduced to an extent because you have like, the other, male protagonist that is kind of like a Bonnie Clyde thing going on. I mean, you can, at least that's, noticeable. You can kind of see that at least. So it's like, I mean, but beyond that, we don't know what the fuck her like background is outside of just like what is vaguely known. So it's like, what the fuck? Like, what would be the issue with that? I mean, it's just like, it's why I don't take it, just this woke shit seriously anymore. I mean, if anything, I just, like, I get more annoyed at, like, at it more so than just, like, oh my, than anything. It's just, like, if, like, instead of, like, triggering their libs, they just are now annoying the libs. It's like, they're just, like, trying to poke the bear enough to see what happens. And it's like, we've moved beyond being triggered. Like, we're not even triggered anymore. Like, we actually had a phase where we were laughing at you. Like, we moved on from being triggered to realizing how silly you all were to now just being annoyed. Because y'all won't shut the fuck up and go away. It's like, god damn it. It's like, find something else to fucking panic about. Like, quit making it woke. Make it something else. Like, bring back, like, the communist fucking Red Scare or something. I mean, fuck. I mean, something else. Like, literally anything else. From what I've seen, it shows it's pretty faithful to the game. Well, like I said, I haven't seen the show, so I wouldn't know 100%. All I know is that it is at least fairly faithful to the game, and nothing go overtly bad about it that I can tell. So it's just one of those things where I probably just need, put on a list of things to check out at some point. I mean, to be fair, I haven't even played any of the games, but I know enough of the first game because I've seen, like, YouTube gamers and shit, like, make, like, hour to hour and a half, like, long, gameplay videos of them, like, doing a playthrough of the game and shit like that. So, like, I've seen, I've seen enough of the game to know what it is and shit. Not with the second one, but at least with the first. So, I mean, I know what it is all about. I mean, The Last of Us has been around for a while, that even if you haven't played the game, I mean, you probably have an idea about what it is. Really, dog? Seriously? Oh my god. Goofy little dog. Here, I kind of pull up a couple things to look at here. There's actually one video I definitely want to look at. Some that I saw on Tassan's channel. Which, frankly, I mean, I actually got like a fat fucker rant about that. But I'll save it for a minute. Because it's, like... like, it is unironically some shit from, like, 1936 or some shit, bro. Like, unironically. Kind of gave a hint about what it is. But it's just like, bruh. I'm sitting here just like, can we just like have a cleanse of the human species? Can we just like cleanse ourselves? Can the Great Flood actually be a thing and like, you know, purify the land a little bit or something? It's just like, fucking Christ, dude. Like, I mean, what is like up with, what's up with Italy? Like, what is wrong with you Sicilian fucking wannabe mafioso greaseball fucks? Like, seriously. Yeah, and I went there. I don't give a fuck. They're white as fuck anyway. I mean, us whites, we can go after other whites. Like, it's okay for us to be, like, racist to other white peoples. Besides, I'm a fucking sauerkraut eating fucking caviar munching Nordic kraut anyway, so... And a fucking beer drinking Irishman. You know, so it's like, you know, it's like I'll make fun of my own self. Which I actually do a lot anyway. So it's like, I mean, and those fucking like, you know, fashy ass greaseballs over there in Italy, dude. Like, I mean, it's, you know what? It's not even just fascist. It is unironically like Nazi shit. Like literal Nazi shit. Like, I mean, since when has it been okay for, like, you know, overt fucking Nazism, let alone fascism, you know, to be allowed on, like, public discourse on anywhere in the fucking world? Like, this is, like, it's, like, a rare fucking thing where it's something that should be unequivocally fucking purged from, like, any discourse idea, you know, or, like, fucking marketplace of ideas or whatever the fuck. It's straight up one of those rare ideologies where it's like, no, you can't purge that out of, like, you know, public discourse and civilization shit because of its inherent destructibility. It is inherently destructive to the idea of freedom, inherently destructive to the idea of liberty, inherently destructive to the idea of democracy and the idea of freedom of thought. It's fundamentally destructive to these ideas. It cannot be allowed to exist, you know, in a society where freedom and liberty are, you know, an advocacy, or at least, you know, established as, you know, foundations of that society. It cannot be allowed to exist because it is built fundamentally on destroying that. So it's like, it just cannot be allowed to exist. It, like, just fundamentally as an ideology. I mean, it is fundamentally fucking insane to know that, like, it's normalized, you know, for this ideology to be in, you know, to be around again, especially to such a degree where, like, the granddaughter of fucking Mussolini and, like, half of Italy are just, like, Sikh-heiling and shit and bringing back Nazism. Which, by the way, you know, low-key, fuck Italy. Like, honestly, like, the fucking founded fascism there, the Roman Empire started from that fucking place. Like, imperialism, like, you know, like, rose for, like, 1,000 fucking years because of that. The Holy Roman Empire came from it. The Catholic Church is there. Like, fuck Italy. Barely able to fucking fight a war. You know, had to literally, like, gas Ethiopia to death to fucking, you know, colonize it. So it's like, you know, fuck Italy. I mean, it's like, you know, they don't really exactly got, like, much history besides, like, food. Like, it's like, that's all they got. Food. It's like, you know, they make some good Alfredo and shit, but, you know, that's pretty much all, at least as far as I could tell, you know, some of the rare good they brought to the world. It's like, what the fuck? Fucking greaseball little Italian Fredo looking motherfuckers. Like, I mean, when you got, like, you know, the fucking granddaughter of Mussolini as your fucking prime minister right now, it's free game. It is free fucking game with you guys over there. You Italians are free game now. Like, just straight Z fuck up. I mean, look at this. I mean, look at this shit.
Footage circulating on social media shows hundreds of men gathered outside the former headquarters of the Italian social movement MSI making fascist salutes. The Italian social movement was a fascist party that later morphed into the Brothers of Italy party, of which Giorgia Meloni, the incumbent prime minister, was a co-founder. Meloni has distanced the party from allegations of links to fascists. That's right.
And look, dude, what a fucking goblin, bro. Look at this, like, fettuccine Alfredo looking Nazi bitch. Like, ugh. She literally just looks like some gaunt fucking ugly demon that just, like, rose from the grave of hell, dude. I mean, she really does. I mean, look, what the fuck is that red background? Like, Jesus Christ. She literally looked like she's, like, in some throne room in hell, dude.
It is patriotic and conservative. The event marked the 46th anniversary of the killing of the three fascists in via Assia Larentia in Rome. I go to Italy.
Oh, so it's an anniversary where some fascists got killed a few years prior. We find on the Great Green Journey. But yes. Oh my god, yes. Anyway. But it's like, so, yeah, I didn't even know that. I guess, like, literal bloody street fights have been going on in, Italy a little bit, the past year or two. You know what? If a few of them died and shit, now they want to, like, do their little Sikh house salutes and anniversary of their fallen brothers or some shit. Fuck them. Good riddance as far as I care.
4 days, 5 days, I say the one thing about the bread, and all of a sudden, Lazio gets a big boost in support, okay? And this is how it works. I said to myself, what the fuck is going on with the food in Roma? And all of a sudden...
I like a song making fun of their accent. They have a first time pizza in Rome, let me tell you. It's not good. New York pizza is far superior to the Lunchables ass marinara sauce bland cardboard I just had. Damn, dude. You know what's even crazier? I found out, like, the war crime of Hawaiian pizza, how it was invented. Unironically, it was started by a Greek man in Canada who, like, had some, like, pizza businesses and shit, or like some an Italian business, which I don't know how that works. Like, you got a Greek guy doing Italian food, and, like, who's, like, in Canada, and he noticed that, like, the whole, like, the different types of pizzas that, people were ordering, because it was, like, mushroom, sausage, and then, like, a pepperoni one. Like, there was, like, basically, for a long time, like, two pizzas that pretty much, like, were the only things that people ate. And, or at least, at, like, restaurants and diners and shit like that. And this guy was like, you know what? I want to, like, fucking, make, something different here. I want to try something that's a little sweet and savory. So he literally got, like, canned Hawaiian fucking pineapples, which is where the term Hawaiian pizza came from. It's not the fact that it came from Hawaii or anything like that. It's because they used Hawaiian canned fucking pineapples. So a Greek guy got Hawaiian pineapples and made, like, some Canadian bunk-ass weird fucking thing, and I guess it caught on after that. And it's just like, what the fuck? So it's like a Hawaiian, Greek, Canadian monstrosity that is, like, that is, like, supposedly, like, an Italian dish. It's like, what? It's fucking weird. And by the way, I'm not kidding. That is, like, kind of the TLDR version of the story.
It's like, oh, Maron. It's like 300 dudes from the whole country on one square LARPing. Last time there was millions of Italian fascists. They couldn't conquer 20 Ethiopians and a Greek grandma. It's funny. Italians seem scary until you realize they're all 5'8". As an Italian chatter from Rome, I feel so ashamed watching this video, but I'm glad you're covering it. I mean, yeah. What do you think is supposed to happen? I mean, I tweeted about this too. I said, look.
I don't know. Invade Italy. Operation Italian Freedom. Operation Free to Fettuccine. I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm on a position at this point where it's like, fuck fascists, fuck Nazis. Like, they need to be, like, purged from, like, our society. Like, fuck these people. Like, I mean, how in the fuck have we, become such a tolerant society to allow this? Like, I mean, there is, like, the paradox of tolerance, frankly. And that's why I always say, you have to be intolerant of intolerance. Like, there is a line in the sand where you don't have to be fucking tolerant. And this is it. Like, when someone's so intolerant of their ideas and views, you have to be intolerant back at that shit. And you can't, allow it to, fester. I mean, you can't be like, oh, well, don't be so intolerant of your ideas, make it more tolerable and palatable. Because that's how you, get dog whistles. That's how these motherfuckers weasel their shit into things and weasel it into, fucking discourse and get people hooked into the shit. especially the more desperate, people feel when it comes to like their general conditions in society. Like, that's how this shit happens. That's why it cannot be allowed to fucking prosper. It should, be considered unacceptable for this, for ideas like this to spread. Like, whether it's like tolerable and dog whistled or fucking overt and blatant like this, it should never be acceptable. Like, these motherfuckers should never be able to have a platform to fucking take a shit on, let alone fucking stand on.
Look, it's pretty obvious. I've been talking about this quite a bit this past year, especially that like fascism is absolutely popping in Europe. Some might say it never went away. Others might say it was hidden under a liberal agenda. Under liberalism,
Honestly, I believe it was. Fascism never went away in Europe. And arguably because of that. I'm willing to honestly generally believe that. Just because, like, I mean, there was, this is, like, a kind of, not as well known, but there were, I think they were called, Wolfpack or some shit like that, or, oh no, they were called, like, the SS Werewolves, like, or the Werewolves or some shit like that. And they used a very specific, an SS rune, to kind of, like, symbolize, their mark, so to speak, kind of like a gang mark, on a wall. And, basically, in Germany after World War II, there was like remnants of the SS who were kind of underground, who still like were able to like gather weapons and shit like that, who pretty much made it their sole duty to continue the war. And and it wasn't really that widespread, and it kind of died out, for a while due to the militarized police, of the British, Americans, and the French and Soviets, all being there. So it's kind of hard to do a lot of these actions and shit when you're pretty much, like every fucking street corner's got eyes, from like some foreign government, occupying. So, I mean, it wasn't super widespread, but the influence was there. Like, there were definitely in a lot of different towns and a lot of different places in Germany and like places like in Austria at the time and shit, where, they would, some troops, like, or military MPs and shit would be, doing some patrols, and they'll notice these, game marks, of the fucking Wolfpack or the werewolves or whatever they're called, making their turf. I mean, so they pretty much act in, like typical, like, gang thugs types and shit for the most part, but, very rarely they would also do overt, like, bombings and shit like that as well. And, and that was a reoccurring issue and a major threat, for a lot of the people who were, occupying Germany at the time, especially. Like, it's one of those things where, like, there's even propaganda videos, from, like, the 50s and, like, the late 40s, talking about these things because it was a genuine issue. Like, the idea that, people still held to the Nazi ideology and were supporters, of continuing the war, so to speak, as, like, guerrilla warfare type of shit and via terrorist attacks.
Was able to hide itself, like the same mechanisms of control that fascism implemented.
I mean, which honestly, shows that, it hid itself. Like, fascism was able to hide itself and go underground for a while, and eventually, if anything, bleed its way into, liberalized government and shit, and if anything, even get offers, to be a part of, the state governments from the get-go, as long as they collaborate and work with them, then they get some crimes pardoned and shit like that. So it's like, I mean, they certainly have also interwoven themselves in, to like the new established governments, even, like pretty much immediately after the war.
Ultimately, though, it's happening in Germany. It's happening with Geert Wilders. You got Lib so mad with your tweet.
Yeah, with the Netherlands.
Oh, they can suck me. Well, they can get so mad that they join the fascists, I guess. You know what I mean? I said decades of neoliberalism have successfully gutted the socialist opposition in every single European country. Now they're openly embracing fascist politics again. Dark times. Yep, blame the liberals, not the socialist movement itself. Yeah, you're right. I love looking at a system where, like, liberals have dominated these countries, and it's still somehow the fault of socialists. I love having these politics.
Yep, it's damn leftists and the people that just don't want to partake in electoralism that is the fault of fascism on the rise. Definitely not us who continue to exacerbate the status quo. I mean, that's why, I get pissed off about, like, these vote blue no matter who, or, like, these electoralist fucks, because, like, this plays a major fucking role in that. Like, I mean, the reason why, especially in Europe, fascism is on the rise is because of the maintained status quo of their system, and and leftists basically getting beaten down and like, browbeaten, left and right by, the liberal apparatus and shit, to essentially just be obedient and be conditioned to play along with the fucking game. And don't have much of an influence or power to really, shake things up a little bit. That would be, immense benefit for everybody. That would help uplift people's lives. It's like they, so like how in the, that's why I, get a little like, triggered about it, where it's like, how in the fuck do you expect, like shit to genuinely progress when you maintain the fucking status quo of the system that has continuously like been a stopgap to that? I mean, that's just like, where's the fucking calculus in that, my dude?
Man, it's so funny. It's just like a lot of these idiots.
Venom, is anything you're going to be commenting here related to this? Because that's the reason why I'm not saying anything to that.
See themselves to be so above the reactionary garbage of Fox News, right? And this is the hilarious part about being like an online liberal who talks about being an online liberal. And it's no different than the absolute baboon-brained Fox News watcher who thinks Nancy Pelosi is a socialist, who thinks all of the worst aspects of capitalism are still somehow socialism. That's it. But of course, it doesn't really matter because there's like a viable audience for being this outspoken of a dumbass. So you can just kind of get away with being wrong over and over again. Like, how is that?
I don't care about Islam. Who cares? So what? What he's saying is still right. What he's saying is still true. I mean, like, it's like just, I mean, and I mean, it's like, bitch, I haven't even like pulled up Hassan in a minute. This is the first time in like a couple weeks, okay? So whatever. You take your Hassan pill.
Different. Yeah, it's actually terrifying.
At least it's small, but just like his head.
Fascism is becoming just being like, this isn't fascism, it's exactly the same as fascism, but with a different title.
I mean, his head is so small in comparison to that like drippy like turtleneck, polo combo he's got going on right now.
I don't get it. I don't understand how you can like look at the situation and recognize that it's anything different than the guy who literally says, oh, what about bread lines? And then like points to a photo of like a capitalist country.
I'll watch whatever the fuck I want.
And be like, hey, look at that. That's socialism. Jeff Bezos, he's socialist. It's like, okay, everything is socialist. Everything bad is socialist. I mean, look. Here, another incredible blue check mark. Socialists literally acting like Nazis. Hassan, it's the neoliberals who did this. Yeah, no.
I mean, it kind of is, though. I mean, like, I love that little take, by, like, right-wingers to be like, well, it's like, these fascists and Nazis, I mean, they're also socialists. I mean, National Socialists is in their name. It's like, so what? It's like, it's like Democratic Republic is in the DPRK. That doesn't make it a Democratic Republic, bitch. Like, I mean, you can put a name, of something in a thing. It doesn't make it that thing. It's like, I mean, it's basically, like someone going up to you and, showing you a chicken and saying, this is a goose. It's like, no, you can say it's a goose all you want. It's still a fucking chicken. It's like, I mean, Jesus Christ. I love that fucking take because it's just so stupid. It's like the most easiest, like, fucking thing to, like, hit in the book. And also, like, the biggest cop-out, too. Like, on both ends. It's, like, the easiest thing to dunk on and the easiest cop-out to use. It's, like, it's just the most stupidest trick in the book.
Gutting economies and trampling on the middle class has done that. Way to go. Socialism only serves the elites. There you go, dude. Great to see. Fascism is a form of socialism.
See what I mean? Like, oh my god. Like, it's like, what? And it's like, what the fuck does that even mean? And literally, no, it isn't. Like, if you actually look at the literal definition of fascism, no, it's not. It's not even close to it.
Is straight up, completely, just a sea of the dumbest takes. At least there used to be.
I mean, it is Twitter, so I mean, most of them are either like fascists or Nazis themselves, probably.
Back in the day,
or just like full straight neolib, just fucking morons that are just like weird IT tech bro Musk simps.
Now it's just like the absolute stupidest takes of all time. Oh, you have to be an American with a comment like that, says Jimble Snarks, says Canadian. I've experienced it firsthand. Quebecer spotted, opinion discarded. You know what I mean? I don't think there's any way of actively combating this level of stupidity. I'm gonna be honest. There's just
because it's impossible to actually fucking combat. when someone is so detached from a reality that they are just essentially like insane and just like make up definitions of words, like you can't like you can't really do anything to that. They're just TFG at that point. Like they would have to literally get reprogrammed essentially, for that to work. Like an unironic like re-education camp would have to be set up, for a motherfucker like that to change. Like, I mean, there ain't no way. Like at that point, they're just TFG. Like, I mean, like you just can't fucking combat that. It's like trying to tell like the biggest Bible thumping Amish fuck that God don't exist or something. It's like good luck with that. Like it's just a never win. It's not a winnable battle on that one.
No way. The worse things get for these dudes individually, like the worse things get all around the world, or all around their world in particular, the more they will blame socialism somehow. And it's like, where is the socialism? Socialists shooting socialism in the chest. How could neoliberalism do this? I think there's something really weird about people LARPing as like European style social democrats. Unless this person is actually a European social democrat. I'm Dutch and capitalist interest neoliberals indeed the Netherlands, reversing the economy, enabling fascism, and leftist socialists get the blame now. Yeah. Talk shit about the Europeans. It's how you know you want to. I mean, I don't have to talk shit about the Europeans. I've already said it. Everything that's happening here.
I mean, in a way, they also kind of do it to each other and themselves. So, I mean, I mean, like, they definitely do. Like, I mean, it's like the weird, like, like, I mean, you got, like, the Serbs who pretty much think they're, like, the biggest, like, holiest thing, since sliced bread over there, like, or some shit. You got, like, the Italians doing their, I don't know what the fuck's going on over there. I mean, they all kind of got their fucking weird shit against each other. I mean, it's like, so, it's one of those things where it's just like, I mean, you don't really have to when they do it to themselves. And besides, like, I mean, like, at least when it comes to being American, the one thing they can't get at is like, well, we got universal health care. So they could just do that, and we're like, well, yeah.
In Europe and accelerating, going towards a worse position overall. Entire sectors previously controlled by the government are being liberated by the beautiful reforms of the market. And as social amenities and social safety nets get deliberately worse as a consequence of that, all that will end up happening is more frustrated people, more economic instability, more economic volatility, more insecurity, more instability, and therefore more fascism. And it's like weird that
because fascists take the opportunity to seize people's desperation. Like that's why that's why reciprocating the same status quo, like I was saying from earlier, like ends up getting this fucking result. It's not trying to challenge it and rock the fucking boat and maybe go outside of the fucking box that we conditioned to fucking work in and shit. It's like, I mean, it has to be, you just gotta vote. That's how you change it. It's like, it's so fucking absurd to me. It's oh my god, it's gonna get worse and worse, as the year goes on when it comes to this. Oh my god.
Who say that they're social democrats, for example, are like gearing up for this fascist takeover by simultaneously fighting, just more so shifting their focus upon the people to the left of them, rather than the supposedly thing that they hate the most, which is supposed to be fascism, right? Wow, that hasn't happened before. Exactly. I mean, that's what Sogdems do. I mean, I thought there was a time and place where the supposedly thing that they hate the most, which is supposed to be fascism, right? Wow, that hasn't happened before. Exactly.
In response, let's see what this. In response to, this is back in a century ago. In response to the uprising, Luxembourg's former student German Chancellor and SPD leader Friedrich Ebert ordered the Free Corps to suppress Soviet-backed attempt at a revolution, which was successfully crushed on January 11, 1919. Meanwhile, Luxembourg's red flag falsely claimed that the rebellion was spread across Germany.
Exactly. I mean, that's what Sogdems do. I mean, I thought there was a time and place where I would say, like, that's just LARPing, especially for America. Like, oh, Sogdems killed Rosa, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I mean, it's still Twitter LARPing for the most part, a lot of this back and forth. But it is weird. Like, what's the difference between a social democrat and just, like, a regular neoliberal then? If you're looking at a bunch of fascists...
Hold on, wait a minute, hold on.
It's like a regular neoliberal then. If you're
Yeah,
looking at
what, damn it, it scrolled up too quick. Shit. What? I want to know what that said. Like, same shit, different assholes. Oh, wait, I got the very tippy top. Wow. Same shit, different assholes. No, oh my god. It's not the same shit. Oh my god. They're different assholes, but it's not the same shit. Oh my god.
fascists, and I'm talking about decades of neoliberalism successfully gutting socialist opposition in every single European country, then what is the difference between you and a neoliberal? Like, why don't you just call yourself a liberal or a neoliberal? Why do you feel the need to call yourself a social democrat? There is no difference then, I guess, because that's what liberals do. Liberals look at this and go, no, 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 this is actually socialism at play. It's socialism's fault. And this doesn't make any sense to me. Why make this distinction? Why act like you are somehow different than liberals while simultaneously defending liberals, allowing economic instability?
I mean, it's basically kind of like a pipeline effect. I mean, it's essentially taking, leftist energy and pipelining it to, maintain the status quo. I mean, that's at least, one of the main aspects of electoralism is shit that, tends to exacerbate and maintain the status quo as it is, which, that, I mean, in itself is not, like, it's not like, at least to me, a mystery as to why, fascism is on a rise because of that. Because, I mean, the idea that, you might have someone might be considered like, social democrat or progressive, but at the end of the day, just like maintains the same status quo. I mean, it's just basically, having a more fluffy name for being just a lib. I mean, at this point, I mean, it's basically, just being a rad lib at that point. It's like being a liberal, but radical. I'm a radical liberal. It's like, I mean, that's basically is what it is. I mean, if anything, I mean, really good song, actually, that kind of, sums this up pretty well, too, is Love Me, I'm a Liberal by Phil Oakes. Or, the Joe B. Alpha version. But either way, both of them are really good songs.
It's like, in the eyes of a fascist, a social democrat is also a socialist. If you're like actual social democrat, if you believe in heavy regulation over market reforms, right, then you shouldn't be defending neoliberalism, which is free market reforms and no regulation whatsoever. So in a situation where the battle lines are drawn, and let's say you have two pathways that you could take, socialism or fascism, socialism or barbarism, and you take the fascist path, then okay, you're indistinguishable than a fascist. I don't understand it. Social democracy is popular currently. I think that's why people are starting to realize liberalism is a problem, so everyone wants to be a social democrat. Okay, but you can't be defending liberalism while also simultaneously branding yourself as something a little bit different. Does that make sense? Sockdems in Europe do not blame socialism. They blame...
I mean, it's just meaning that, I mean, it's one thing to, like, take up a, name or, like, like try to be a supporter of an ideology, so to speak, but I mean, it's kind of like, basically saying it's like, it's one thing to walk the walk, but, I mean, or it's one thing to talk, but, like, can you actually walk the walk? And honestly, a lot of these, like, social dems or, like, liberals basically just don't want to actually do the walk. They want to do all the talk, but none of the walking. Like, I mean, and the only walking they're doing is to the polls. They're Pokemon going to the polls while, like, leftists out there actually trying to at least walk the walk, and maybe some of that does include going out to vote as well. But I mean, that's just, one tool of, of the walking, it's like, it can't just be all the walk you do, which is what liberals do. Like, the only walking they're doing is Pokemon going to the polls. What the fuck?
Hence alt-right parties rising. They allow for some social safety nets for their white citizens. I mean, it's different in every country, okay? If you look at a social democrats in Sweden and it's like peak, then many of them were indistinguishable from democratic socialists. Some of them actually called themselves democratic socialists or socialists. There is a difference there, and that difference is indistinguishable now. Because Sockdems are liberals, and deep in the back of the liberals' mind, they see the current order as just and socialism an actual recognized threat. I don't get it. If you are looking at a situation where neoliberalism is the dominant attitude from those in positions of power in Europe, and you are
in America too,
socialism like a dumbass reactionary mouth breather, then how are you any different than that same dumbass reactionary mouth breather at that point? My point is this. If you consider yourself a social democrat, then you must consider yourself something different than like a regular neoliberal, a liberal in general. Like, You believe in government regulation. You believe in government intervention. You believe in, trust busting. You believe in social safety nets, social amenities, like things that the government's supposed to provide. You believe in nationalization of key sectors in the economy. These are things that social democrats believe in. You have to be.
At least at the bare minimum. And, and I'll even hear, rad libs advocate for this, but when it comes to actually, pushing for it, it doesn't really seem like there's much of, a genuine, push for it outside of just, maybe talking about it with somebody. Because, I've never really noticed, them actually, hey, let's try to, put, a direct ballot initiative out there or something like that. It's usually, overt, more, progressive leftist types that, tend to do a lot of the groundwork when it comes to that shit. Which, because, frankly, a lot of leftists make it the bulwark when it comes to, pushing a lot of, progressive ideas out there for, to kind of, uplift some aspects of the status quo. And at least, the benefit is, at least, it's a lot of, rad libs social democrats would vote for it when it's up there. But it's they don't want to actually do that groundwork, to try to get it through in the first place. Or, push it through. They'll, sit at home and, vote and stuff like that. But that's literally as far as it goes for a lot of them. Maybe when it comes to certain things, when push comes to shove, they'll go out there and, protest, for, the George Floyd protests, for example. A lot of people are not just, overt leftists out there. There's, people of all different political spectrums out there. I even saw some conservatives in solidarity being yeah, I'm a little conservative, but I've never really liked cops and shit because, X, Y, and Z and stuff like that. Whatever they had their reasons. It's and there were certainly people of all walks of fucking life, going out there and shit. It's it's not really about the ideology at the end of the day, so to speak, but at least to a degree when it comes to push to shove. But it's but it's something that needs to be more of a push to shove, with people. There needs to be more of an emphasis and prioritization and advocacy to get people out there more, because that energy can be there. It has happened in the past, and especially very recently. And it's it can be, funneled into something that can generally be positive. It's, not something that, I, see as just a just spur in the moment thing. It was, to an extent, but, that energy is still there. The Glacier Mancy hit it. Well, that's okay. I can't right now.
At least in the fundamentals, when push comes to shove, way closer to my mentality of the world than the other side. You have to be way closer to my mentality of the world than liberals, for example. So that's what I don't understand. Why do you distinguish yourself from liberals while simultaneously pushing the same exact attitudes that liberals do? It makes no sense. Just say you're a liberal then. Yes, but Haas, I think to make socialism work like Vienna, we needed to tighten immigration and we won't do that. First of all, that's not true.
Oh my God. We need to tighten immigration. Jesus Christ, what a fucking buffoon. That's... oh my God, that's... no. That's not it. I don't know who that is in the chat, but God, what a fucking idiot. No, you don't have to tighten immigration to get that. You just, put price caps, nationalize at least some elements of housing, have public housing, and, mix zoning housing and, shit, mixed income housing stuff. There's, you could literally adopt, Vienna's shit and, now, if anything, in America, and you wouldn't have to change that much. Outside of, some of the rich getting taxed more or something, beyond which they should anyway, but, just in general, but at least, you wouldn't have to change much. If anything, that'll give people a shitload of fucking jobs because you'll be retrofitting and, modernizing a lot of, cities and a lot of towns that way. So, if anything, it would be a massive, major, federal works job project type of thing. It'll, be a fucking stimulus to the economy, basically. And to the nations itself.
Not even remotely true. Economy scale. You're out of
be injected a steroid in a way.
Things like that. It's more so about a distribution of the surplus labor value than anything else. And it's funny because people that say that don't care about fixing the economy or offering social amenities. They just don't want brown people in the country. Okay, that's it. Anyone that says, no, we need tighter immigration controls before we get socialism in this country is just straight up operating like a 1938 Nazi. Okay. Oh, yeah, no, totally, dude. We're going to get the better social safety nets once we kick out all the browns and the blacks, right? Like, that's how we're going to arrive at it magically. I don't understand how you can.
I mean, because honestly, it makes me suspect the chatter that mentioned the whole like you got to tighten immigration. That kind of felt a little bit like a dog whistle of like, yeah, you got to kick all the browns and black peoples out, so we can only make it white, then it'll work. This is what it honestly felt like. It's like
America and feel this way.
I'm gonna stimulate your budding alcohol addiction. What?
And social cohesion does not necessitate looking exactly like your neighbor. This is the country where every single person from every single background will become eventually a hog. 3 generations in, this beautiful mosaic turns into a melting pot, and that's precisely the reason why we are probably the only country where there are even trans school shooters. My argument is, instead of assimilating into becoming a school shooter or a hog of different varieties, there is clearly social cohesion of that sort. Why don't we blend into a diverse, multicultural, pluralistic society that takes care of its own fucking citizens and gets in the way and doesn't get in the way of revolutionary actions globally? My thing was more so just about, like I said, it was more so about like.
But Sean, that there be communism, and that right there is something we can't have in the country. I mean, because honestly, I mean, we're already a very pluralistic and, melting pot of a country. I mean, the only part we're just forgetting to do is, like, take care of ourselves. Like, take care of each other. Like, we're forgetting that part. I mean, because of just, like, how, like, callously and, like, coldly capitalistic, this fucking country is. Like, I mean, and that's what needs to change. And hence why, like, the more revolutionary action, type of thing that Zon's talking about is frankly more necessary. Or just like direct action, like, and prioritizing a union and labor action, because at least that's one strong element to challenge that paradigm. And that doesn't require electoralism. That isn't like, LARPy shit. That shit you can do. Like, I mean, that is, I mean, like, that's something that can, be done. Like, it's happening now. It's been happening, and it's happened, since at least as early as like the fucking like 1800s. And frankly, a lot longer than that. Actually, I think the first like recorded like workers' strike was actually in ancient Egypt, and like because like I think it was when because it was basically literally about like their pay, which was basically beer and bread and stuff like that, and maybe a few like gold coins or some shit, and they weren't getting enough for compensation for like building this pyramid for the king at the time, and they all were like, fuck it, we're just gonna walk out on this. And funny enough though, the king was actually like, all right, here, let's bring some of the representatives of these people into my throne, and my little throne room area and shit, and let's talk it out. And naturally, all peaceful, led to concessions, got what they wanted, and hey, the pyramid kept getting built and was built. So, it was literally a win-win for everybody. Like, King heard them out. It's like, all right, understandable, fair enough. What's a little extra beer and bread for them, to me? Like, that's pretty much how he thought about it and just, conceded with them. Like, I mean, so it's like one of the earliest, like, at least historically documented strikes, was actually a really very successful one, and one where the king was actually way better about it than fucking CEOs and bosses today. Like, CEOs are like, shut the fuck up, get back to work, you fucking slave peasant. But back then the king's like, alright, I'll hear you out. You know what, understandable actually. Here, let him have the concession. Like, it's like the king back then was like better about it. It's like, what the fuck?
Why people fancy branding themselves as something that's not a liberal while simultaneously just defending liberalism. Does that make sense? Especially as conditions worsen. Just say you're a liberal instead of saying you're a social democrat. I don't get it. Is it possible you are conflating people with different views? I mean, that is possible, but I'm simply responding to this person who calls themselves a sock them libtard. right? They have clearly branded themselves as a social democrat. A social
And a libtard.
democrat is supposed to be different than a liberal. A social democrat is still a capitalist, but it's supposed to be different than a liberal. Because if this person was a liberal,
Well, I mean, they kind of, yeah. I mean, if they say social democrat, sock them yeah. I mean, at that point, they kind of are identifying as a liberal.
they would have just called themselves a liberal. I don't think people understand that difference. Because the reason why I'm saying this is like the branding of being a social democrat in this circumstance does not make sense. How the f are they blaming socialists for Italian fascism? No, they are They are indiscernible from regular old reactionary weirdos in that regard. There is no difference between this attitude here, okay, as it pertains to Italy or any European country, as a matter of fact, and what right-wing Republicans say all the time about how socialism has ruined this country, the United States of America. That's what I'm saying. Like, looking at Italy, looking at modern Italy,
I mean, it really is like. I mean, it's pretty much like kind of a byproduct from McCarthyism. You know, from like where pretty much anything that might even remotely be construed as like socialism or communism or something that's red. It's like it's pretty much immediately like equated to that. So like it's so anyone that might be perceived as a well, at least in this case, an actual socialist or leftist, of any varying degree, like then critiquing like fascism or even Nazism and shit. It's basically a big condition that because of McCarthyism and the whole like Red Scare shit, where it's like those are essentially equivocal and like the same. Because like, oh well, Mussolini used to be a socialist before being a fascist, and National Socialism is Nazism. They make these little cop out things. And like I was saying from earlier, it's just like the most stupidest, easiest cop out. It's like, it's like you can show me a chicken and call it a goose, but it's still fucking chicken. It's like, I mean, labeling something what it, and saying that's what it is, even though it isn't, doesn't make it any more the thing that it isn't. It's like that's not how it works.
Economy and saying socialism and socialists have done this to Italy. That's why there's so much fascism in Italy. Is akin to Republicans constantly being like, yeah, hell yeah, brother, socialism ruined the American country, the American countryside. It's like you are indistinguishable from a European neoliberal of this, if this is your argument. I mean, I'm willing to bet you scroll far back enough on any number of these people's platforms, okay, on their Twitters, they are going to have a bunch of takes like how radical they were, how much they love Bernie Sanders, how they think the Democratic Party sucks. And like they've 100% under Donald Trump, every single person behaved like they were a violent revolutionary. Maybe even tweets about how they've outflanked someone such as myself. Hassan has betrayed the revolution, guys. I really don't like it. I myself am a real Marxist-Leninist or whatever. Not saying that every single person 100% was like that, but there are plenty of people who did that. People who are like, oh, I'm a, card-carrying Communist Party member. And then...
you gotta love the gatekeeping shit. That's kind of like the most annoying thing about just kind of, just kind of in general about, some libs and lefties about it. It's just like this weird gatekeepy fucking mentality where it's like, no, I'm the like true one, the true lefty one here. Not this fuck, because, they said something that, I disagree with or something, or doesn't fit my fucking review. And it's usually literally over, like, one thing, too. It's always, like, one little thing that, makes it where it's like, no, fuck this bitch. It's like, what? I mean, man, this is why, like, online drama bullshit is just, like, something I tend to just detach myself from, because that's literally what it is. Like, it's that shit. And it's just so fucking rote and stupid, and it's not anywhere close to like to the reality, like on the ground, so to speak, when people are talking politics. Because like I've talked politics with people at the bar at my work and shit, and it's not even remotely close to like this type of attitude, like at all. Like, and this is also people I've talked with who are like conservative leaning, leftists like me, or like centrist leaning types and shit. It's never like this. Like, I mean, there might be like the occasional weird blowhard on the street or whatever the fuck. But usually most people don't really interact with them outside of like someone who wants to just like, try to tell them to shut the hell up or something. Usually most of the time, like this type of attitude translated into reality, so to speak, like on the ground, like, when you're at like the bar or whatever the fuck, usually is not really met with like a bunch of people being like, well, nuh-uh, or whatever. They usually are just ignored or told to get the fuck out or go away or something. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Just get out of here. No one cares. It's just some shit like that. Because, yeah, no one wants to deal with that shit. Because, like, in reality, like, people are willing to, like, hash it out and talk it out with stuff as long as you're just, like, cordial and chill. I mean, and shit can even be a little intense, as well, even. But it doesn't matter as long as you're, chill about the end of the day and, shake hands over at the end and talk or whatever the fuck, all good. At least for me.
They quietly fizzle out their interest, noticing that there isn't a real market for such commentary. Finally, they come to that realization that, like, maybe it's not actually super fashionable to openly support socialism in an environment that is, like, actively against it. So then they turn around and decide on a new avenue, on a new ideological journey for themselves, I assume. But I think
which is a pretty defeatist mentality, honestly. I mean, I kind of feel like that's where a lot of the problem comes into it, when it comes to this shit. Especially when you have, like, literal fucking Nazis seek heiling in Italy. It's like, I mean, it's like, well, I guess this whole socialism, social democrat stuff is starting to be really unpopular. Well, defeatist mentality. Better start, like, hyper-liberalizing myself or something to be at least, not, so tolerated or whatever the fuck. It's just like, it's just it's such a fucking defeatist attitude, and like, and that's what really gets my goat about it. It's just like, I mean, instead of like, maybe doubling down with it and being like, well, shit, this is bad. Why don't we fight for this fucking harder, so we can get out of this shit? Instead of that, it's like, well, better, act of course status quo this time, I guess, because it's ratcheted farther to the right again.
You're saying it makes more sense if you think of them as saying that the socialist movement in Europe kneecapped itself and let fascists win. I don't know. It just kind of makes sense. How? Okay. So many of those, like, I'm actually way more further to the left than Hassan guys have become right-wing reactionaries, or, either liberals that call themselves liberals of a different variety, no different than how in the early 2016 era, there were a lot of people who left the left and were liberals, but classical liberals. You remember that? Remember that momentum from the...
Oh god, I love that. That arc is still going on too. There's many of men and women's out there that are still on that silly arc. I'm still waiting on Bill Maher to do it. Because he still technically claims he's left, even though he's just straight up a full fucking right-winger. Like, so, I mean... I'm just waiting for his ass to do it. I'm all to bet he's going to be the next one to make a full-on I left a left video. He's going to be the next dude.
So, Dave Rubin.
I mean, he kind of already has a little, but there needs to just be the official video. Like, and it's going to happen. He's going to do it at some point. I guarantee it's, like, going to be this year.
You're old
He's going to do it this year or something.
Enough. You remember that. People used to say, I'm actually a liberal. I'm a classical liberal. I'm just different. Sargon of Akkad would do that. Tim Pool did it, too. Red Scare podcast has done that recently. Exactly. So many people who constantly said I was fake.
I mean, with a podcast named The Red Scare, I mean, Jesus. I mean, were they ever on the left? Like, what the fuck?
Have demonstrated that they themselves were just simply projecting. People who were like, oh, Hassan's politics are so fake. He's actually only doing this to appease his audience to be popular. They showed that they had no moral clarity, no vision, no genuine perspective, no real politics whatsoever. If being a leftist and being a socialist was so popular, all of these little grifters would not have become, different versions of liberals over the course of the past couple of years. That's all I'm saying. They all said, oh, dude, you're a grifter. You're doing this for clout or whatever.
I mean, it's kind of like a sense of projection. I mean, because that's, in a way, especially to me, that's kind of just how it feels with the shit when it comes to a lot of these, like, rad lib reactionary fucks. I mean, especially when you have, like, such a normalization of fashion. This is like how fashion does get normalized. It's like, when it seems like the idea of, like, socialism or, like, leftist, like, labor action stuff like that is, unpopular, then it's like a lot of these people who just don't actually give a fuck one way or the other outside of their own general best interests and shit, and that's it. A very, hyper, egoist, sense of thinking when it comes to the worldview. Like, I mean, it just becomes, a lot more like tolerable and normalized, for, more farther right, ideas like fascism and shit to rise from that. And to also seize on the opportunity for a more degrading status quo that continues to, get worse and more desperate for people. Because, fascism seizes on that desperation. Just realized, still fucking with me. Okay, there we go, cool. But I fucking Italy. Live somewhere with legal weed. And we find that's not the point. And also, you really underestimate Oregon if that's really what you think. Because there are certainly, elements of far right, fascistic, shit in Oregon too. Unfortunately. That's a rare little thing we can look at. Here. Actually, before I do, here, I'll go to the bathroom real quick. I'll just grab my tea. Grab my tea. Hey, pup. Oh, stretchy, stretch. Oh, stretchy. Oh, stretchy boy. We are stretchy boys. Yeah. Earliest Pokemon you remember playing for me was Pokemon Yellow. I don't know, to be honest. I never really played that much Pokemon as a kid. Um, though I do remember having one on Game Boy. I just don't remember which one it was. Um, fuck. I don't. I really don't remember. But I know I had one as a kid. I just forgot which one specifically. I think it might have been the same one, yellow maybe, but I just don't remember specifically. Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. I had the regular Game Boy, and then I had a Game Boy Advance too. So I had both. Which I pretty much all my Game Boy games are compatible with either or. So, and I know I still have them somewhere, like in a drawer somewhere around here. And I know I saw like a cartridge in like randomly in a drawer too. So I know I still have like, some of that around. If anything, I probably, if I can find it, like, might see if I can either still have a charger for it lying around. If not, maybe find one. Or did they take batteries? I don't even remember. I thought they might have actually took batteries now that I think about it. But, or maybe the Game Boy Advance did. I don't remember. But, like, either way, it's like if I still have it, maybe I can, like see if there's like some like a collection of games, that might be on eBay or something. If I could buy that shit. Well, I found a New Mexico channel on Tubi. A New Mexico channel. New Mexico local news station. Oh, so just some local news station. Oh. Oh my god. Wow. Dude, this misinformation is insane. Funeral for Lebanon for killed Hamas leader? Not. Oh my god. That is not even. No, it's the leader's from Hezbollah, not Hamas. Oh my god. The leader was from Hezbollah, not Hamas. Like, oh my god. Jesus Christ. Like, that is so fucking blatant, dude. Like, Jesus. Wow. Fucking wow, dudes. I mean, honestly, why am I not surprised? Tubi carries a bunch of news channels from across the country. Kill. Little Zukov. You little boy. You big goof. What's up? What's up, you big dork? Oh my god, now he's just staring at me. It's giving me a stare down. I don't like it. Because I know, like, he's gonna, like, do something where he's gonna, like, bark at me or some shit over something. I knew it! What? Oh, well, I think I see what it is. Your water bowl. Is that what it is? Is that what you're doing? You big goofball? You're just a goofy goof. Here you go. Yep. You big booby goof. Ugh. Oh, now he just has this cute little puppy face. He's just looking at me. He's like, thank you. Quenching my thirst. Just a cute little goofball.
So Chris,
hold on, Kyle. Found a couch I want, but you need $75. Perfect size for the cave. Well, isn't that something you should probably hit your mom up about? Like, I did. She wasn't impressed. Well, I guess Discord me what it looks like. I guess. I mean, well, I mean, is it like? Is it what is it? I mean, obviously, besides the fact it's a fucking couch. Don't need some smart ass comment on me. Because I'm just like, I mean, I'm willing to give it a look. I don't know if you're like expecting me to like put 75 down or some shit, because it's like I'm not making money over here. No, I wasn't. I mean, like I'm pretty sure you might be able to find one that's cheaper too. That might, still be all right. But at least, it's one of those things where you'll have to at least keep it in mind. It's like you want to have like, have like a little list of different things. Especially at like different prices potentially, depending on what it is and stuff. Just to kind of give some options.
has, of course, been running for president in the Republican primary. And he's a little bit of a fish out of water because, his whole campaign
Krispy Kreme
based on, look, I'm a traditional Republican in the sense that I want to cut taxes for the rich, I want to deregulate, I want to do more war, I'm, relatively conservative on social issues. He has all those positions, but he also leans into, I don't like Trump, I hate Trump, Trump tried to steal the election, Trump is a criminal, that's not okay, what are you doing, why do you idiots support him, this is dumb, don't do that. And as a result of him going after the person with the plurality of support in the Republican Party, maybe majority of support in the Republican Party, his side hates him. So Chris Christie has more supporters among resistance liberal MSNBC viewers than he does in the Republican Party. Now, having said that, New Hampshire, one of the early contests, likes to fancy themselves very independent thinking state, and he's doing well in the polls in New Hampshire, relatively speaking, maybe in third or something like that. But look, his days are waning here, right? It's going to get to a point where he's probably going to have to...
Oh, you're not... Oh, is that Thrift Store? Oh, I thought it would have been some Facebook Marketplace shit or something. Oh. Though you should check that out, too. It's a little futon-style couch.
But...
Actually, you should check out the Marketplace on Facebook or something like that. You might actually unironically find one that's free.
Frustrated. Maybe he thought he would have a better chance of breaking through or making a stronger run at it. But he goes on Hugh Hewitt's radio show. Hugh Hewitt is the world's worst radio host. He's moderated some of these debates. He asked the dumbest questions you've ever heard. He was prodding the candidates about why isn't our Navy big enough? Gosh golly. And he kept pressing on that same question. Terrible. He's just a dumbass. Anyway, he has on Chris Christie. And this is hilarious because Christie sort of snaps at him and thinks he's really annoying. Watch this.
Have you ruled out no labels?
I've said that over and over. Yeah.
I know, but it's something you said on The View yesterday made me think, that View interview was odd, Governor. I thought you were kind of hedging your bet there. So it leads to this question. If it's Donald Trump, Republican nominee, against Joe Biden, Democratic nominee, who will Chris Christie vote for?
At this point, I wouldn't vote for either one of them.
What would you do?
That broke his weird little nerdy ass little brain. It's like, what? What would you do then? There's no other way besides one or the other. It's like, oh my god. Oh, this is why they're so annoying. But this is just like, this is literally a motherfucker that, is, like, literally just a, like, electoralist, fucking, weirdo piece of shit, and, like, but just for the Republican side, it's like, he just cannot fathom the idea of, like, voting red no matter, like, of not voting, Republican no matter what. Like, he just cannot fucking fathom it.
I'd vote down ballot.
But then you'd abdicate?
Hugh, this is not news. I've been saying this from the beginning. I'm the guy who didn't raise my hand on the stage when they asked me if you would support him if he was a convicted felon.
Yeah, I know, but support...
So I don't understand how we're in... I have to answer it to you. You have interviewed me probably 100 times. I've never had a less substantive interview with you in my life.
But it's actually the most substantive interview. We're down to the quarter stretch.
This is not news, Hugh. I didn't raise my hand in August. If you think you're making news here, then you're not paying attention.
The premise of the question in August was, if he was a convicted felon, would you vote for him? I don't think he's going to be a convicted felon.
Well,
by the way,
your opinion.
I know, and so I think what I'm asking you is my premise. If he's not a convicted felon, all right?
I don't accept your premise.
Come on, Governor, you're on redirect here. If he is the nominee,
and I don't accept your premise.
If he's convicted on appeal,
I don't. Whoa! Jeez, what the hell, pup? I kind of like Chris here. He's just like, I don't accept the premise. Fuck you. I ain't playing around with your damn game. Dude, I love it. I kind of like it, dude. I mean, he's just like not giving a fuck. This is why I kind of weirdly have a soft spot for Chris Christie, even though he's still kind of a Republican piece of shit. Because, like, he don't give a fuck, dude. Like, he just unironically straight does not give a fuck. And I love it. Like, I mean, he really is kind of like, a more traditional style, like, maverick Republican type, in my opinion. Kind of like a McCain, I guess, in a way. Like, because honestly, I mean, like I said, this is just like a no fuck attitude, it's like no fuck given attitude. It's like, I mean, I just love it. Especially with this nerdy little twerp trying to, like, egg on, like, some sort of, like, standard rote, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna vote for Republic, or Trump and this and that. Like, oh yeah, I'll play if I like. He's trying to egg it on, to have him like, just kowtow and shit. But it's like, I mean, he at the end of the day is not gonna get it, and in fact, it's just pissing him off. Actually fought for the country. Yeah, then you send a bunch of other people to go die, in useless wars too. So I mean, I don't want to give him that much fucking credit. I mean, I guess, well, I mean, to a degree, yeah, but I mean, especially considering he was literally tortured and shit. But I mean, considering that he was okay with sending other, soldiers to go off and die and literally did like the bomb, Iran, bullshit. Like, I mean, he doesn't exactly, like, it basically literally evens it out. So I don't really give him that much fucking credit for that.
Did you vote for him?
If he's convicted and on appeal,
yeah,
he's convicted. I wouldn't vote for him.
All right.
Whoa.
Oh, that was so uncomfortable. So look at where we're at now. Look at where we're at with the Republican voters and Republican media figures. He's like, well, of course you're going to vote for the guy that has 91 criminal charges, right? Right? And Christie's like, no. Look, to be fair to Christie, it would have been inconceivable. Go back just to freaking 2015, 2016. Back then, Republicans were saying, if somebody's a presidential candidate or a political candidate and they're just under FBI investigation, never mind, like not indicted, not convicted, not charged, just under FBI investigation, oh, they should be kicked off the ballot completely because they're being investigated. Because Hillary was under FBI investigation. They're like, that's it, done, over, law and order. Law and order. We don't want any stupid criminals running the thing. Now you have a guy who was just found liable of committing fraud in New York, business fraud, tax fraud, insurance fraud,
all the fraud.
He's gonna have to pay a fine of up to $250 million, and he's gonna lose his business license in New York. That's who this guy is. They didn't blink. Nobody on the right was like, all right, well, I guess I can't support a guy like this. He's clearly a con artist and a fraudster.
But you know what? He's our god emperor, though.
There was evidence before that he was a fraudster. Look at Trump University. They didn't care. They don't care that time either. The 91 criminal charges, they don't care. He was caught dead to rights with top secret and classified information and storing them in a sketchy way and trying to and showing people the information that they shouldn't about nuclear submarines and things of that nature. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care about the fraudulent elector fake.
I mean, it also just kind of comes down to the fact that, like, Republicans never give a fuck about whenever, shit's, like being investigated or convicted or anything of that nature when it comes to their side of things. They're totally okay with it. Like, I mean, because it's basically like, essentially it's like, well, if our opponents, are even being investigated, let alone all this other shit, then it's not good, it's bad. But, if, like, one of our guys does it or some shit, then, like, they're just being, attacked by the fucking state and the system, bruh. Like, the deep state's just fucking trying to get at them, bruh.
Plot that was uncovered, and in their own words, they said this is an illegal vote counting scheme. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care that Trump acknowledged behind the scenes, yeah, I know I lost, but then in public he's like, I won, and we're not going to accept the results. They don't care. But it would have been inconceivable if you told Republicans, the people who said, law and order, back to blue. If you told those people, there's going to come a time where you support a candidate who has 91 criminal charges, was already found liable for fraud, and is almost certainly going to be convicted of a felony, it would have been inconceivable that they would have supported somebody like that until Trump.
Yeah, well, honestly, they'll probably just be like, well, that's just because Deep State's trying to go after him. It's like, you think that's going to ever happen? Pfft, if they do, it just shows that Deep State's just trying to take him down. And then it happens, and it's like, that person was working for Deep State, see? Telling the plans. I knew it. See, I knew this was going to happen. Deep State going after him.
Now, the framing of the question is like, Christie, you're not going to vote for the guy? Just because he's got 91 criminal charges and is definitely going to be found guilty and be a convicted felon? Come on, Chris. What's wrong with you? He's framing it as like, well, of course you should vote for him. How could you not? And when Christie's like, I wouldn't vote for either one, he's like, well, what does that mean? It means he's not being a fucking cuck. That's what it means. It means he actually at least has principles where he thinks, no, when I say law and order, I mean it. I'm not going to vote for a convicted felon who I think is a literal threat to the country because you...
I mean, honestly, I think that's kind of why I have a little bit of a soft spot for Christie, because at least I know he believes what the fuck he says. I mean, I think that's kind of why. Like, he isn't, like, necessarily a grifter Republican in the sense that, he's just saying it to say it, to just, like, galvanize, his constituency. Like, he says it because he just actually believes that shit. Like, so I can at least, in a way respect that, despite his views being just shitty conservative politics that I don't like anyway. But, at least, like, like I said, he actually at least believes what the fuck he says. And you can at least, like, have a back and forth with the motherfucker about politics and not feel like you're having some weaselly mouth, like, just fake-ass fucking grifty shitbag. Like, I mean, he's a grifter in the sense that he does it for money, but, I mean, it's just because he likes money and he believes in that. So, I mean, he's just, he believes that it's totally fine because that's just how the system is and stuff. Like, he's part of that fucking crowd. But, like, if anything, it's almost kind of like secondary to him.
He refuses to do a peaceful transfer of power. He refused it last time. He's already saying he's going to refuse it this next time as well. So look at where we're at. So I understand why he's snapped at him. First of all, it's a dumb question. Second of all, look at your framing. Your framing is like, of course I'm going to vote for the criminal. Duh. God, if the shoe was on the other foot and it was a Democrat who had some criminal investigation or criminal charge or was found guilty or liable.
I mean, they already do, but they're not even president. It's Hunter Biden. Like, they already have one of these people.
Civil court for fraud. They would never shut up about it. They would hammer them. They would never agree to it. But since it's Trump, they're going to let it slide, and they're going to support him even more. Why? Because he triggers the libs. Why? Because they're in a cult. And this is where we are. And now, imagine giving Chris Christie credit simply because he has the courage of his convictions, at least to say, I don't think if you're a convicted felon, you should run the country. I think if you're a threat to democracy in this country, you shouldn't hold office. I mean, it's such a low bar. And I disagree with Chris Christie on, like, everything. He's wrong on taxes. He's wrong on regulations. He's wrong on foreign policy. I can't think of almost a single area where I agree with Chris Christie when it comes to policy.
I mean, I could agree with how, on the policy, how to scarf down, some Krispy Kremes, you know what I'm saying? Him and I might agree on that.
On the notion, the guy who's refusing to do a peaceful transfer of power, the guy who tried to steal the last election, he shouldn't hold power. And Hugh Hewitt is flabbergasted at this notion.
He literally was, too. Like, he was like, what the hell would you do? Like, you know what? I want to go back to that, honestly. Like, that was... Just him being so absurdly flabbergasted was really hilarious.
Your interview was odd, Governor. I thought you were kind of hedging your bet there. So it leads to this question. If it's Donald Trump, Republican nominee, against Joe Biden, Democratic nominee, who will Chris Christie vote for?
At this point, I wouldn't vote for either one of them.
What would you do?
He's like, what did you do? Oh no! He just literally could not fathom him. Oh my god, I love it. I just fucking love it, dude.
Shut up about it. They would hammer them. They would never agree to it. Chris Christie credit, simply because he has the courage of his convictions, at least to say, I don't think if you're a convicted felon, you should run the country. I think if you're a threat to democracy in this country, you shouldn't hold office. I mean, it's such a low bar. And I disagree with Chris Christie on, like, everything. He's wrong on taxes. He's wrong on regulations. He's wrong on foreign policy. I can't think of almost a single area where I agree with Chris Christie when it comes to policy. But he's right on the notion, the guy who's refusing to do a peaceful transfer of power, the guy who tried to steal the last election, he shouldn't hold power. And Hugh Hewitt is flabbergasted at this notion. What do you mean? You're not going to turn your brain off and be a partisan hack and just cast a vote for Trump?
You know what? Yeah, like, and Hugh Hewitt literally looked like a skeleton with a skin suit on, too. I was just, like, he looked pretty exceptionally creepy when I zoomed in on him.
I mean, I'm obviously going to vote for the guy with 91 criminal charges who's going to be a convicted felon very soon.
Our radio host who looks like a skeleton goblin in a suit, is definitely going to vote for him and turn my brain off. Because I really don't got one that, because whatever was left, right in the will. What about you, Krispy Kreme? What about you, sir?
He's on appeal. Are you going to bet that he's going to win? Look at this conversation that we're having. Look at this conversation. What a clown. What a clown. So anyway, I wish Chris Christie had this short of a temper in every single interview he's ever done, because at least it's entertaining.
True. I love it. That's another reason why I have a soft spot for Christie, because when he lets his temper out, it is funny. I love it. It's beautiful. Victoria 3 is getting engaging and playable. Nice. Nice. Hopefully Crusader Kings 3 becomes more playable. Let me make sure that shit gets updated, so then it can actually work. Gotta make sure it works. Gotta make that bitch work. Making that shit work. Gotta make that shit work. Tequila. I like how just that song's in my head. I feel like that's just kind of like my stereotypical, just like, I is a stoned song. I is a stoned. I tell you what. What was Onion Nuggets popping up on 5, right? Oh my god, I got an hour. God damn it. Boo. Boo. Do need to get some grocery shopping done. I know I need to get some ginger for some seasoning. I also need to get some Thai. Make sure I always am up on that. I know I also need to grab a couple other things. Oh yeah, some green onions. There's at least 3 things right now. Then there's like one other little thing. Oh, little treat for Zukov. Keep that little fluff ball treat. I look over and that's what you're doing. Hey. Really? Got a washer and dryer today for $4.80. Is that a good deal? Sounds like a good deal. I mean, I don't know what would be a good deal on that. I mean, it seems like it is. Seems like it is, in my opinion. See if there's like one more little thing we can look at. See if we can find a little mem. A little mem. A little mem. A little amazing mem. You know, I keep getting this fucking video. I love the title for it. Liberals are trying to steal our stacked broads. Our stacked broads. Our dames.
Case that this is actually sexism. I'm not joking. I'm going to make that case. I'm being sincere. It's not a bit, okay? Let me just hear me out, okay? You can disagree with me after you've heard the argument. That's how it works. You have to know.
I love it.
The argument.
Dude, Vasha's TJ Lara Croft arc, bro. I fucking love it. And it's an hour and a half, like, holy shit. Ow. Oh my god, he goes into the whole shebang, dude. Dude, it's in depth. Oh my god. It's like legit unironically in depth. Like, holy fuck, dude. Dude, he goes into like full in-depth analysis on this. Like, holy shit. Oh my goodness. I mean, we're not going to be watching that whole video. That's like insane, but I love it. I fucking love it, though. You know, I should send a little super chat on the Onion Nuggets today. Be like, yo, you see that Vosh is having his, equivalent of TJ's Lara Croft arc? Because that's essentially what's happening here. Unfortunately, it won't make the same, like, energy and the same fire like, TJ did. But, I mean, it's, it's basically the same thing. The foundation is there. But TJ laid down that foundation. Fucking love it. The liberals are trying to steal our stacked broads. I fucking love it. Oh, Vosh never change. Well, I mean, maybe on like one or two things he probably could a little bit. But yeah, beyond that, never change. You big butt. When you just like plop yourself down, you make so much noise. Like, damn, you're such a noisy little dog. Like, your tail's like a fucking club. It's huge and thick. You just, like, battering ram your way for everything. You plop down like a fucking meteor is hitting Earth. Fucking absurd little mutt, dude. Absurd. Fucking just big, gigantic goofball. What a big goof. What a goober. Fucking goober. He was pretty fucking adorable, though. You big ball smoosh. Big smoosh ball. All that fluff and extra flabbiness of your skin just makes you just super extra fluffy and smooshy. It makes you more of a puppy than you really are. I swear, everyone thinks that you're like 9 months old, dog. Because when I say that you're 2 years old, people are like, what? You really are still a little puppy. It's like, how old do you think it was? Like, I don't know, like 9 months or something? I'm just like, oh my god. Well, Zukov got the youth in him. Youthful little pup. Really do be an absurd little boy, though. Just not the absurdity. Nothing but absurdity. You big smush. When you're looking over here like that, you just look so smushy. Oh my goodness, she's just so cute. He's just so cute. But anyway, gonna do a little go shopping and stuff like that. And I'll be back for a little later tonight. I don't know when, but sometime later tonight. For another little chill around and hanging out type of thing. It's gonna make it a little easy day for me. Just lays around. So, anyway, let's go deal with the errands and all that shit. So, peace out for now. And I'll see y'all in the next one. So,